Hi, I am your host, Lyanette Talley, and you are listening to Virago 24/7. Virago is Latin for female warrior, and 24/7 is for all day, every day. Virago 24/7 is a weekly podcast that brings diverse women together to talk about life and our experiences in this world. We share our views on self-love, mental health, marriage, children, friendships, and really anything that needs to be talked about. Here, you will find everyday growth, everyday healing with everyday warriors. Just give me my space to move. 'Cause it's my thoughts, what I want, and I want what I want. What should I say?
I'm back.
I'm back. It doesn't sound as good as yours.
No, yours sounds better.
Oh. Okay, you do it again.
I'm back.
I'm back. I like your deepness.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yours would sound weird.
I know.
If you were deep.
I sound.
You're raspy enough.
In the mornings, I have that deep voice, don't I?
You really do.
Say good morning.
Hey, Philip, how you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning, Philip. Like, what the hell?
So here we are. I don't know why I haven't been recording. I have no excuses except that I get into my own head sometimes about things. And I call it my hibernation cycles, where you'll see me out maybe every weekend, every other weekend, hanging out, partying, hanging. It doesn't always have to be partying, but, just hanging out. And then I have periods of my life where I just want to be by myself. And in those moments, I do a lot of thinking, sometimes good thinking, a lot of times not good thinking, like negative thoughts. And so I like to figure out where that's coming from. And that's when I start reading a whole bunch of stuff and write things down on paper, because if I write it down, it gets out of my system. So I just turned 43 on November 6th, and I decided that I was going to go down to the beach, because the beach is my happy place. And that's where I can just let go of a lot of things and gain clarity. And so I was down there from November 1st to November 6th. And while I was down there, I read a lot. I wrote and cried and got a lot of things out of my system. But one of the books that I read was, it's called The 4 Agreements. And Shiny, who's been on the show multiple times, she suggested that I read that. And I bought this earlier this year, I believe, and I'm just now reading it. But it's a small book. It's it's how many pages, Philip? Like 140. So I read it literally, it's so quick. It was probably like an hour or so of me reading it. And so Philip joined me on the beach. And as soon as he got there, I was like, you have to read this book. Everyone on this planet Earth should read it. Things would be so less, people wouldn't be so wound up tight, if they followed these 4 agreements. So Philip, my lovely husband, who's always pushing me to be better, was like, you got to start recording again. And I'm like, I have nothing to talk about, except I do. I always have something to talk about, so I don't know why I'm kidding. I don't know why I'm kidding myself. We were like, let's just talk about the book and what we got from it and other things. We have so much to talk about, but I'm like, this is going to be like the springboard of what we're going to talk about today.
Correct.
So anyways, hi, Philip.
Hello, beautiful people.
So you haven't finished it, but you read chapter 1. So at least we can cover chapter 1, right?
Yeah, we can talk about the first agreement.
Okay.
And there's 4 agreements, but Lyanette was really impressed with this book and thought that it would be a good book for me to read. So I started reading while we were in tithing, and read the introduction. The introduction is a little different.
It's very philosophical. I was like, I'm not going to like this book. I don't like a lot of philosophical verbiage. But you get past it, right, after a while?
You do.
Yeah.
You do. And it has some, I highlighted a lot of stuff in the introduction. So there's a lot of things.
I love the difference between you and me. So I read the book and here you are, I gave it to you and you're highlighting and you're reading and you're preparing. And so we just sat down. He's like, so where are your notes? I'm like, my notes are in my head. He's like, you didn't make any notes? I'm like, nope. They're all impressive. In my brain. No, I didn't write anything down.
That's
but
impressive.
I'm glad you highlighted some things because I'm just going to go off the cuff.
All right, you go off the cuff. You can do that. I can't. So in the Four Agreements, this is by Don Miguel Ruiz. So his thing is, it says it reveals the source of self-limiting beliefs that robs us of joy and create needless suffering. And it's based on this ancient Toltec wisdom. The Four Agreements offer a powerful code of conduct that will rapidly transform our lives to a new experience of freedom, true happiness, and love. So with all that rigmarole, it sounds good. Yeah. But, it has some really good things that it talk about. And, the biggest thing, I think, when it starts off in the introduction is, we're born with the capacity to learn how to dream. And humans who lived before us teach us how to dream the way society dreams, which is, your mom, your dad, when you're in school, religions, they teach us, how to dream or kind of what our
how we should live.
Yeah,
how we should function in this world.
Exactly. And, some of that's good, some of that's not. So it doesn't mean everything that we learn, everything that someone exposes you to is not the truth. And that's where, they're trying to just give a foundation of what this Toltec wisdom is when it comes to these foundations and these agreements that we have. Because we make agreements with all these ideas that we hear and learn if we think they're the truth. And in our minds, they're the truth. So that's kind of how we live out our lives. That tells us what's good, what's bad, what's true, what's false. And so we all build these agreements throughout our lives, throughout the whole process of life. And as adults, we think we understand what life is. And
then we get here and we're like, oh, shenanigans.
Yes.
Everything that we were taught may not be something that we agree.
Correct.
And so basically the book is telling you to kind of undo, which is a lot of the things that we talk about here on Virago 24/7 is that we're trying to shift our thinking with how we grew up. And so that's what he's saying. Like, yes, we may have had all of these agreements that were taught to us, but now that we're older and we may not, and some people go through their whole lives just being okay with what they were taught. And some of us are not okay with that. And so having to undo that and form new agreements within ourselves can be very hard.
And like they said, one of the biggest things is fear. The fear of being rejected becomes the fear of not being good enough. Everyone suffers from that. Eventually.
Do you think that? Let's talk about that. Because I feel like we've talked about the Enneagram on here, and if you don't know about it, look it up. But I'm a 6, and 6s are very much fear-driven. And it may not be like I'm like cowering in the corner somewhere, just like shaking in my boots all the time. But internally, I have a lot of things that I tell myself, and things that I want to do that I don't do because I'm afraid. But I always thought that that's just like a small few.
No.
Most people, like you, I don't think that you live in fear. Like when you set your mind to doing something, you just do it.
True. But like you and I talked about in Tybee, my foundation was from my mother and father. So my whole thing was my mother and father said, you can do anything you want to do. You can be whomever you want to be. Because mama said I killed Kent a long time ago. I took Kent out in the field and killed him.
Yeah.
So Kent doesn't exist in your life. And at the time, you keep hearing those type of things. So you feel like
you can do anything.
If I work hard enough, I can achieve anything. Mm-hmm. So yes, I didn't have that same foundation. However, I do feel at some degree, most people have some type of fear that either motivates them or inhibits them from achieving a certain
So your
level
fear
of success.
motivates you and mine inhibits me.
There you go. It could be that.
That's what it is. You're like, I'm going to conquer this. And I'm like, nope, I'm okay over here in my safe zone. I ain't trying to conquer nothing. No, just kidding.
But if we are driven by fear, it says eventually we become someone that we're not. You know, we become a copy of our mama's beliefs or our daddy's beliefs or society's beliefs. And all of these are not normal tendencies. So we get lost in the process of that whole belief system. And it takes a lot of courage to overcome that fear.
What are the 4 agreements?
All right, the 4 agreements.
Since you have the book in front of you.
All right, so 4 agreements. The first one is be impeccable with your word. That's the first agreement.
Okay.
Second agreement, don't take anything personally.
That's a hard one. That's a hard one for everyone on this planet Earth.
Everyone. Because everyone thinks everything is about them.
Yeah.
And don't make assumptions, which is a huge
That's a big one
again.
too. Yeah.
And always do your best.
Yeah.
Those are the 4 agreements. And obviously, we're going to talk about all of these agreements, but today is going to be more focused on the first agreement with be, impeccable with your word. Before we get to that, though, the other thing that I highlighted is we punish ourselves when we don't follow the rules according to our belief system. And we reward ourselves when we are a good person or a bad person.
Yeah, I do remember reading that part, and that stood out. Yeah.
And the other thing that I was remembered,
like when we feel something is quote unquote bad, we are so hard on ourselves.
yes,
So tough on ourselves, and it's because it's been like ingrained in us from birth that this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. And then when you go ahead and do that, then you feel horrible. And for me, I'm going to be real honest and I'm going to be open. And you guys know that I'm crazy like that I just lay it on the line. For me, it was like sex. It was always, my parents were very young when they had us. And so they didn't want us to go through that same thing. And, and if you grow up in the church, it's always like, wait until you're married, wait until you're married, wait until you're married, wait until, it's just like, just
ingrained.
Bombarded. You're bombarded with that. And so the first time I went off to college, I was 19 years old. For all those who want to know when I lost my virginity, but I was 19. And I was so, honestly, I was mortified. I cried. I thought I was the worst person on this planet Earth. And I remember thinking, when I have kids, instead of pushing them, obviously we would want you to wait for the right person to come or be married. Ideally, yes, that would be amazing.
That's the ultimate goal.
However, I remember thinking, I'm never going to do that to my kids because I don't want them to feel how I felt. I want to be honest with them. Yes, please wait as long as you can. So that was one of the things when I read that, I was thinking that was a huge turning point for me. And if maybe someone had I would have never told my parents, but there's, some people like our child who is very open with us about things like that. And the first thing is all right, let's go to the doctor and let's get protected and let's talk about it. I'm not going to shame you for having done that.
And not only do we punish ourselves, we punish ourselves multiple times. And this is probably the biggest thing from this whole introduction that I got, which says, true justice is paying only once for each mistake. True injustice is what I think most people do. I do it, is paying more than once for each mistake.
Yeah.
Which means, make a mistake and you should let it go. But what we do as people is we beat ourselves up over that one mistake multiple times.
Yeah.
And they say only humans do that. No other living creature beats themselves up over one mistake multiple times. So you make one mistake and you just mentally beat yourself up. And that's not healthy.
Yeah.
That's not what you should be doing. Even though that's easy to say because we have a powerful memory.
Do you think also, like, you don't just beat yourself up? So when I read that, I did think, yes, we beat ourselves up multiple times about that same thing. But also as humans to each other, like, we beat each other up for one mistake and we'll bring it up and bring it up. And I know that that's something that I'm trying to work on with you is not throwing things in your face all the time for things that happened in the past.
Right.
And I'm like, I get a gold medal and a gold star for that because I'm like the worst at that with you. We're laughing, but it's sad. And when I read that, I thought, man, I beat Philip up a lot about past mistakes.
And everyone
does that. And I'm sure that doesn't help you.
No.
Stop from beating yourself up on things.
Well, then that's the domino effect. Because it says every time we remember, we judge ourselves again, we're guilty again, we punish ourselves again and again and again. And if we have a wife or a husband, he or she reminds us of a mistake. Yeah. So we can judge ourselves again and punish ourselves again.
I'm sorry.
And then find ourselves guilty.
Yeah, again. Yeah.
So, how many times do we do that to our spouse, to our kids? We do that to our children. You do that to your friends. Oh, you remember that time when you did such and such?
Yeah.
You just basically, they call that emotional poison.
Yeah.
You're just throwing things into someone's life that's poison and that eats them up. So it just builds a vicious cycle within them. Sometimes indirectly, you don't know that you're doing it, but that's where it comes to our word and what we say. And that's why they say the first agreement is have an impeccable word, because your words are powerful. Your words can build someone up or tear someone down. So that's why, that's the first agreement.
So I liked that agreement and I understand it. So my question is, where is that fine line of expressing yourself? And you can even express yourself, quote unquote, in a kind way. The message, you can say something in a very kind way, but if what the words that are saying are going to hurt that other person, regardless of how you say it, like, is that what they're talking about? Like, I'm like, for me personally, I know my words, sir. I know that for sure. I know I can dig deep, and I know I can say things that will cut you.
Yes, I've experienced those people.
And I know that about myself. And especially as I gotten older, I don't get, like, I used to like scream and yell and just blurt it all out, but now I can say it in a calm way. It doesn't make it any easier to so like where's the line between being truthful and, because not everything that you tell someone is going to be all rainbows and butterflies.
Exactly. It doesn't say that. Because it says your word is a gift that comes directly from God. And you hear that. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word is God. What you feel, what you really are, what you dream, they're all manifested through the word. And, the word brings about, like I said, it's all the magic that you possess is in your word. Your word is pure magic. The misuse of the word is black magic. But I think when it comes to that, there's a difference between being mean and being, I guess, because sometimes being truthful sometimes is mean, but I think it's how you say it.
It still hurts.
Like we talked about. But you're not going to always walk through life just.
That's what I'm saying.
Like you said, rainbows and unicorns.
So they're just basically saying, he's basically saying in this book, it's what words you use and how you're saying it.
Yeah, it still can be your truth. But there's things that people say, oh, that's my truth. But that's just you being ugly. Yeah. That's just you being mean. Yeah. Because that's not being considerate of others. Like you and I talked about earlier. I can speak the truth to my team members and tear them down with the truth. Yeah. I can also speak the truth to my team members and build them up. Yeah. I can say, hey, I know you need to work on this because of this reason, but I know this is the type of person that you are, and you're going to do great things. I can turn that around and say, hey, you're horrible, at doing these two things. And I wonder if you'll ever be any better than that.
Oh, dang.
I'm still telling them the truth.
Yeah, but there's a difference.
I'm still telling them that they're horrible at something. And I'm still telling them that they may be better. Mm-hmm. But one thing is telling them, I believe in you. Mm-hmm. I know that you can do better than this. And they deserve the truth. They don't want me to just walk through, I'm their leader, I'm their boss. And the whole time I'm just talking, like you said, rainbows and unicorns and, blowing stuff up their butt. Mm-hmm. And then when it comes to a raise, they don't ever get it.
Yeah.
Remember when you did this and did this and this? I'd rather just tell you from the beginning, hey, this is how I'm going to be. I'm going to let you know what things you need to improve on, but you don't have to be mean about it.
Yeah.
You can still speak your truth. Because for me, if I don't speak my truth, I feel a certain kind of way. It eats at me not to tell someone something that's going to make them better. But it's how you do it. Every time you come across someone, you're just going to be nice to everybody. Yeah. And everybody, because that's not reality.
Well, I've learned a lot from you, because in the beginning of us like meeting and dating and getting married and stuff, I would swallow all of my things that I wanted to say. Mm-hmm. I would keep that inside, and then it would come out with like anger, and it would come out all at once. Mm-hmm. All these different things would come out at once, and everyone would be like, what the heck? Like, I had no idea you were thinking this. So I've learned over time that I just have to speak it in that moment or when I'm feeling it, because it won't come out as angry.
Correct. And no one's going to read your mind.
Yeah, yeah.
So
that's
just
what you taught me, yeah.
Yeah, just say it, because you may think, or back to the other agreement, you may assume.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait till we talk about that one. That's a big one. Yeah.
That I already know
but what you can't read my mind.
Exactly.
You don't know? I thought we were soulmates.
We are soulmates, but
how do you not know what I'm thinking?
Read your mind. Which comes to one question that we talked about today. Is there one soulmate for everyone?
Yeah, I don't know why I came up with that question.
I don't know, man. That's how you roll.
I just think things.
You do think a lot of things. I believe that there's more than one soulmate.
There goes that wine again. Every time you're on with us, we hear wine in the background. Is wine? Wine helps you talk. Gives you superpowers.
No,
that's hilarious.
I'm in my happy place.
Last time. You were just pouring away. You know the microphones can hear that.
That's fine. It's real.
What are you drinking anyways?
Red wine.
Red. Okay, side note, remember that one time we went out to eat and the guy goes up to the bar. Okay, if you guys are not wine drinkers, there's red and white wine, but there's different types of each one. And the guy just goes up to the bar. He's like,
I want some red wine. And the bartender's like, okay, what kind of red wine?
He's like, the red one.
Not the white one, but the red one. Give me the red one.
We looked at each other like, is he kidding? Is he like joking?
No.
This was years ago, right? And we'll never forget it. No. Anyways, you're drinking the red kind?
I'm drinking red one.
Okay. All right, going back to soulmates, what about it?
I think there's more than one soulmate in this world for you. And I think it's based on the choices that you make. I think God has multiple soulmates for you.
Depending on which road you go down.
But he gives us freedom. Mm-hmm. You have freedom to make choices. So if you choose in the wrong path, you're going to miss that other soulmate that you had. And then based on your other choices, you might meet that other soulmate. Because there were so many different choices and decisions and things that took place for me to get to this point to have met you, who I, in my deepest heart and soul, feel that I know that you're my soulmate. So when it comes to that, if I had made a different choice, I probably wouldn't have met you.
You did make a different choice. You married somebody else, Philip. You did marry. You did.
You know what that choice did? That helped me know who my soulmate was.
What that really means.
That gave me clarity.
Yeah.
It gave me clarity because, unfortunately, that definitely was not my soulmate. Mm-hmm. So when I met you, I saw the difference.
Well, how you know? You thought she was your soulmate then. How do you know I'm your soulmate? That's a good question, isn't it?
No, I mean, in your mind it is, but I had questions when I married her. Mm-hmm. And you don't have questions when you're meeting your soulmate.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
And so it was a night and day difference when you and I were getting married. My concern was, am I going to do this speech in Spanish correctly? That was the only concern I had on our wedding day.
Yeah.
Was this speech I had memorized with my friend Christina, who helped me with the words, because I told her what I wanted to say in English, and she translated it for me, and we practiced weekly, multiple days a week, leading up to the wedding. That was my only concern. I don't want to mess up these words and say something crazy, and so that was I wasn't concerned about anything else. Everything, I can be my true self with you. People see me a certain way, I guess, but when I'm with you, I can be Philip.
People think that you are the straight-laced man.
But, with my family, with you, I can be myself. So I feel that
depending on which
soulmates.
Route you take.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, I wasn't thinking that deeply. I just said, yes, I believe there's more than one. So you and I have never had this conversation before about soulmates.
We haven't.
I mean, we talk about us being soulmates, but we never talk about if there's more than one. I mean, realistically, there has to be more than one.
Exactly.
Yeah, it can't. I mean, it's great.
I mean, what are the chances you're going to meet that one person that's for you? Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, that's multiple people for you.
I think there's multiple people.
But it's not it's not a million people
but
for
I'm
you.
the best soulmate that you've ever had.
You're the best of all my soulmates.
So
all
listen,
the
if you're going to
that God had a plan for me, you were the best one that ever could have. I hit the jackpot in soulmates.
That's funny.
For me.
The kids, so we had this conversation in front of Khalil and Corinne. And Khalil's like, I don't believe in that. Well, yeah, you're 14 and you've never been in love, so we'll see. And then Corinne said, only one romantic soulmate, and then you can have a platonic soulmate, like a friendship soulmate. So that was cute.
That was very
But you
cute.
weren't going to give me your answer until right now, so
Exactly.
I didn't know what you were going to say.
That's what
So
I
we're on the
saved it for
same page.
podcast.
We're on the same page. We believe in multiple soulmates.
Exactly.
And then you said that when you and I are no longer together, if one of us passes before the other, which I like to believe that will be like The Notebook.
And we'll just die together.
Together
That'd be awesome.
in the same hospital bed, holding each other.
Maybe not in the hospital.
Well,
bed.
that's where she was. Well, I mean, it was like a home.
Yeah, I know. But
Well, where do you want to be? Where do you
we'll
want
be
to
right here in 5693.
We're gonna be old. We're gonna be 5693. Okay, well, wherever we're gonna die, we'll die together, and we don't have to worry.
That would be so sweet.
But you said that if I dated, the children should harass my new mate.
Without a doubt. They need to be vetted.
Well,
Without
and then
a
my
doubt.
thing was like, first of all, I'm not gonna start dating right away.
It doesn't matter when
It would
you
be
date.
like 10 years, 10 years,
Doesn't matter.
or probably never. And by
It
then,
was 10 when we talked this morning. Now it's 5. Goodness.
I was thinking, man,
Goodness. You said 10. That's a long time.
10 sounds like a long time. And
Yeah, they need to vet. They need to vet all three of them.
but my instincts are amazing as I get older. So,
Doesn't matter.
anyways,
You might be blind. All right. So be impeccable with your word.
yes.
That's the correct use of your energy. It means you use your energy in the direction of truth and love for yourself, which goes back to your very first podcast, self-care,
Yeah.
self-love, because your word is pure magic. It's the most powerful gift we have as humans, and we use it against ourselves. What do you think that is?
Why do we use it against ourselves?
Yeah. I mean, ourselves, other people, like the example in the book. The mother came home. She had a long day at work. Her daughter was in the other room singing loud. She has a beautiful voice, but the mother was just fed up. She was tired. And the mother was like, can you please be quiet? I hate when you're singing. And the girl grew up never singing again. Mm-hmm. She thought she had a horrible voice. And that And she never sang again in her whole life because of that one incident. And the mother didn't love her.
She wasn't thinking when she said it.
Right.
Yeah.
She didn't know the impact of her words to her kids, which made me really start thinking about, because I say things all the time to our kids, and you don't know what effect that's going to have, because we are in a powerful position with our kids and the words that we say. I mean, I've learned that from Kaylin. You know, there's words and things that we've said to her that impacts her now. And I don't want to make that same mistake with her again, with Khalil, with Corinne, with my friends. But your words can really be poison. You know, it could be poison to someone. Or it can always build them up. That's why your words are so powerful. But why do you think we do that with ourselves or other people?
I mean, I feel like we do it with ourselves because we feel like we're lacking something or multiple things.
True.
So when you're not fully fulfilled, like internally, of course you're going to start bashing yourself. Like if you feel like you should be at a certain point in life, or you're not happy with something within yourself, which I think, do we ever get to a point of just contentment and just loving who you are? Or are we constantly striving for better and more and more and more and more?
That's a good question. I'm content.
We know you are.
I'm at peace.
Yeah, you are.
I mean, there's things I want to achieve, but I feel like I'm truly blessed. I'm happy with where I am in life. I'm very content, and there's nothing wrong with being content. I mean, it's like Pastor Jay said today, being content doesn't mean being lazy. You can be content, but people have a very negative connotation when it comes to being content. And I look at Carolyn, my sister. She's very content.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that's a beautiful place
She's
to be.
happy with who she is. And you can also see it in how she speaks to people.
Yes.
So like, I feel like when you,
same thing in this book.
What we're talking about, like she's very kind with her words. And if she's going to say something that's quote unquote hurtful, it doesn't come across that way.
No, because you know it's coming from a place of love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't mean that Carolyn's not going to tell you her truth.
Oh, no, she'll tell you the truth. We're not doubting that.
But it's always from a place of love.
Yeah.
And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing and a great example to have as a sister. But I mean, I don't know.
I think it sounds like if you are like in a good place with who you are, then you're going to be kind to others.
Yes.
So we need to start with ourselves.
That's the first. Yeah. That's what it says here. It talks about that because it always talks about, because it says here, if you understand the first agreement, being impeccable with your word, you begin to see all the changes that you can happen in your life. Changes first in the way you deal with yourself, and later in the way you deal with other people, especially those you love the most. And it has to start with yourself. And that's like self-talk.
Yeah.
You know, you should talk better to yourself than you do to other people. You know, because you're easily will say, oh, you look ugly today, you look fat. And you can't continually say that to yourself and not realize that it's going to have an effect on you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's things that you would say to yourself, you wouldn't say to other people.
Yeah.
But it should be the opposite. I mean, you have to start, loving yourself. And you have to actually start if your words are that powerful, you should choose positive words in talking and thinking about yourself. Make that a habit. Because it's not something that's going to happen overnight.
I know. And that is so hard because going back to the story that he put in there when the mom's saying, oh, I hate your singing. And so she grows up not singing anymore. When that is ingrained, like when that is something that's said to you by someone who is like supposed to adore you and love you like, your parent. Exactly. And then you grow up, it's so hard to shake that off because if like your parent can say that to you, then anybody else on this planet Earth that says other things, which, there's other people, outside of our families that say mean things, then that's it. Basically, what I got from that chapter is when someone says something to you that you already believe yourself, And it kind of goes on to the other chapters. Like
It
reinforces it. And then it's like, okay, well, that has to be who I am. And then if somebody else, so like if that is kind of piled on and kind of cemented inside of you, it is so hard to break that and get rid of it.
None of this is easy.
Yeah.
Because if it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
Yeah,
Everyone would be in a lovely place and not living, as they say in this book, living in hell. If you follow these 4 agreements, the premise of this book is you'll be living in heaven and hell amongst people living in hell. But it has to change with yourself on how much you love yourself and how you feel about yourself are directly proportionate to the quality and integrity of your word. When you are impeccable with your word, you feel good, you feel happy, and you're at peace. And the one thing I liked about one of the things that they talked about was you need to use your word to share love because that leads to personal freedom, leads to huge success, abundance, and it'll take away all fear and transform it into joy and love. Like we just said, you can live in heaven in the middle of 1,000 people living in hell. Tell yourself how much you love yourself. Use the word, like you just mentioned, baby, how hard it was to break all these little tiny agreements that make you suffer. All those different times that you are telling yourself that, or someone has told you as a child that you're not this, you're not that. You have to begin by telling yourself that you love yourself. And you just understand what that word is. And it has to be positive. Yeah. You got to love yourself. You got to, because that's how you're going to feel good. That's how you're going to be happy. That's how you're going to be at peace. And it's not saying that I don't think that there's times that there's things that I didn't do well. Or I didn't do what I needed to do, and that I'm happy all the time. It's nothing like that. It's just more of I feel at peace. I feel content. But doesn't mean that I'm not always striving to be better. I definitely beat myself up multiple times over one mistake, but that's why I think that stood out for me, because I know I need to improve on that.
Do you do that really?
Oh, I definitely
You must keep that like in your head.
I do. I keep that in my head, but I use that as motivation.
Because
I don't use that to stop me from doing something. I use that as, okay, that means I didn't do something, but I still think about the mistake. Because if it's one patient that is upset over something, now I don't do it as much as I used to. That one patient overshadowed the 30 that were happy.
Love you, yeah.
Exactly. But now, being older, and I see people that are unhappy, I don't take that personally.
Yeah.
When it comes to the dentist, I hate the dentist. Don't take that personally, Dr. Talley, but I hate the dentist. Now, if that was something that I was thinking about,
or like
many times that I hear that every week over the number of months and number of years, that would be an impact that people hate me. But I just think that's a personal issue. It doesn't do with me.
I love watching you do that. And that's how first of all, your one motto at work is learning opportunities. Everything's a learning opportunity. So if there's a mistake, let's learn from it. And then you always say, got nothing to do with me. Got nothing to do with me. I'm like, damn, that's right. That's right.
Because, people, they say stuff all the time. And, it says here too, when someone that love says something to you that is kind of poisonous, but they love you. Just forgive them for it.
Because they have their own
they have their own stuff. That's ignorance.
Yeah.
That's why I say it's ignorance. Mama used to say that all the time. Because ignorance is just not knowing. That's what racism is. That's ignorance. Because you don't know what that other person is thinking or feeling. You haven't walked in their shoes. You haven't even thought to ask them about their opinion. So
who they are,
your truth is your own belief, and your own belief is your own opinion. But your opinion doesn't mean it's right. That's just your opinion. It might be right. It might not be right. So nowadays, when people say little crazy stuff like that, or I'm paying for your boat. I'm paying for your car.
I love when they say that.
First of all, I don't like boats. Second of all, my car is paid for. And I'm in the same car that I've been for 10 years because I don't want a car note.
Yeah.
So you're not paying for any of those things. And you know what? In reality, your little $100 and $200, that is not paying
for my boat.
A boat or a car payment.
Oh, that's funny. I
or
love
any
it.
of those things.
Maybe my Botox. half of my down payment from a Botox. So I started getting Botox in October of last year, and I never in my wildest dreams thought that I would ever do it. I should, maybe not ever. I was going to wait until I was like in my 50s or something. But I got it done, and oh my gosh, it makes me all glowy and stuff. I don't know what kind of crap they're putting in my face, but it works.
So
it works. So that $100 is going towards.
Is that what it's going towards?
My
right.
every 4 month Botox.
That's good.
Yeah.
But you know being impeccable with your word, I think, is a good foundation when it comes to living your life. That's when it comes back to our last podcast that we did together with Keith.
Mm-hmm. And Lisa, my co-host.
The co-host. Mm-hmm. That's what Keith lived his life. He was impeccable in his word. And we see that in their kids.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's some awesome kids. And it all started with Keith and Lisa and how they are impeccable in their word. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's the reason why we embraced Keith the way that we did so quickly, because it was very authentic. Mm-hmm. It was very organic. It was just, I don't know, it was weird how close that we got with him that quickly because of how he lived his life.
Yeah.
How he has lived his life.
He could have come at it with anger and resentment and, all these negative feelings. He could have cussed your dad out multiple times when he was alive. There could have been so many different ways that he could have handled it, and he chose grace and understanding.
Exactly.
And yeah. That's a great example.
That is a great example. And I'm going to pull this little plug in because that's what we're going to try to do. Because Thanksgiving is coming up.
Woo-woo. And we're hosting. It's going to be so fun.
That's going to be nice. I love that. Because I love my family. I love your family. So that's
we do have a lot of fun together.
A blended family.
It sounds for some people that get anxious about, because it's going to be, we were talking about last night, it's going to be like over 30 people.
Definitely.
Well over.
For
minimally
4 or 5 days.
And for some people that would be like anxiety inducing, having all those people, but it's such a fun group with like literally zero drama.
Yes.
And I think that's what makes it the big difference is zero drama.
No.
And so that's drama. What makes it so much fun.
And it's going to be a lot of eating, watching playing games, watching sports, talking, laughing. It's going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully during that time, we're going to try to record with the other siblings and talk about their perspective when it comes to Keith and Daddy's.
A family affair part 3.
Affair part 3/4.
Yes.
Who knows how long that's going to go.
Well, with your family, you guys really like to talk. And some of you talk slower than others because you're trying to get your thoughts out. I'm just speaking truth here, or just my impeccable, what is it called? Impeccable speech?
Impeccable word, baby.
That's an impeccable word.
That's your impeccable word.
Listen, you guys, there's a lot of you, and you guys all have lots of opinions.
Yeah, all 7 of us.
And have lots of things to say. So this is going to be interesting.
It's going to be very interesting. And if we can't Zoom or somehow get Kaylin involved, it's going to be even more interesting.
So Carolyn's not going to make it to Thanksgiving.
She's not going to make it. It's going to be the first time that I can remember that Kaylin hasn't made it to Thanksgiving.
Well, we'll Zoom her in. Or
we'll have to Zoom her in.
Because she, out of everyone, will have a lot to say for sure. Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. So anything else on this impeccable word? We're just going to try our best. Yeah. I'm going to do my best. Okay, Philip?
Y'all all heard that, right?
Listen. I've gotten so much better.
You have, baby. You have. You have gotten better. I've learned from everything that is my mistakes and things that I've had to grow and learn, and assumptions that I made that were wrong. That, that's how we grow. Like I always say, a marriage is a commitment to grow together. That doesn't mean we're perfect. We have issues. We have problems, just like any marriage. And some of those we'll share with y'all. I'm not going to share all of them, because if it was up to Lyanette, she would share every little thing.
If it was up to me, we would write a whole book about it with all the dirty details.
They're not that dirty people.
They're not. They're really not.
But
it's really not that bad.
It's
but
the
Philip
truth.
is
I mean, I've made mistakes. Lyanette has made mistakes.
I don't know what mistakes you're talking about. I don't know what mistakes you're talking about.
Yeah, Lyanette has made mistakes. I've made mistakes.
I'm very self-aware.
We've both made mistakes, but we love each other. And that's going to be the biggest thing from it. I mean, remember you sent me that text this week about love and what that means.
I'm so mushy.
You are, baby.
I'm such a romantic.
See, Carolyn says I'm a romantic.
I know. What's up with that? Where are my quotes and letters and emails and things?
They're from my actions.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Felipe. I appreciate you pushing me to do this on this Sunday afternoon, because I had zero desire to talk.
Yeah, you were going to go to sleep.
Like when I say zero, it was like sub-zero. Like, I didn't feel like talking. I've been in my own little world. And so thank you for pushing me to talk.
You need to, though. I mean, everyone learns and gains from you. And yeah, you need to speak your truth and continue to do that more often.
Oh, I do.
On the podcast. Not with me.
Oh my gosh, not with you. Keep my truths about you to myself.
Just jokes.
All right, I appreciate you.
Love you, baby.
Cheers. Cling, cling.
There you go.
Stop pouring wine on my shows, man. Just tell me to pause it or something.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
All right. I'll do that next time.
Just kidding. I like that sound of the wine pouring.
Yeah, it's the holiday season.
It adds like excitement to the podcast.
Exactly.
It makes other people listening like, damn, I want a glass of wine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that.
All right.
Wine's good for your heart.
It is. That's what they say.
Yeah.
But
true.
We have strong hearts, don't we?
Exactly.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to Virago 24/7. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And please give us 5-star ratings. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Virago24_7 and on Facebook at Virago24/7. And just connect with us and share your story. We'd love to hear from you.